Yo, what is up guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today we've got another review on the end of era Sergio Aguero card. We're going to go through the card, its detail stats, clips and summary, as well as the SBC requirements for you guys to get your hands on him. But before we get into all of that, if I could ask you guys to please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button and that bell so you know when I upload, and comment down below what your thoughts are on the SBC, the cost, and if you're going to do him. And now, let's get into the review. So guys, this is the team that I used Sergio Aguero in. Played him in the top spot in that 4-2-3-1. I actually didn't play him with anyone else either. Didn't want to play him in a two-striker formation because he did so well as a solo striker. And my first impressions of this card, guys, is a wonderful card, guys. Really nice card in terms of how he plays, how well he does on the ball, all the technical aspects as well. But let's just get into the review. Sergio Aguero, 5'8", high medium work, is right footed, 4-star skill moves, 4-star weak foot, 3 games played, 10 goals scored, and 1 assist. Now guys, the only thing that I see here that is a bit of a problem for me is the 5'8" height. I do generally like my strikers to be a little bigger for other reasons, which we'll come into shortly, which don't really apply to Aguero, so we will get into that. 1 more skill moves, 1 more weak foot would have been nice. However, the 4-star skill moves, 4-star weak foot is pretty decent, and 10 goals from 3 games in a mix of Division 3 and 2 is a very good return as well. In terms of the chemistry style, guys, I did have basic on him to begin with, but I felt like his dribbling was just lacking a little bit, so I ended up putting the engine chemistry style on him just to give him a bit of a technical boost and pace boost as well, which leads us into the key stats of this card. Of course, the key pros, the shooting element of this card is phenomenal. Everything about it, except for, of course, the penalties. The long shots are a bit average as well, guys, but the overall finishing of this card in and around the box is phenomenal. One thing that's really surprising about this card, guys, and although you can see, of course, he's good at short pass, he's got decent pace, decent dribbling. The most surprising thing about this card, which I absolutely loved, was that combination of his balance with his strength. He was so strong on the ball, so difficult to bully off the ball, and even for bigger defenders as well, he was holding them off fine, getting past them as well. So really easy to use this card in terms of bullying your way past defenders as well. The physicality of this card is really a standout stat in terms of comparing to everything else on here. Of course, he's got fantastic dribbling, ball control, composure, all that stuff. The cons of this card, if I'm to pick any out, I would say that his passing is just okay. His short passing is okay, but 5 to 10 yard pass is no longer than that. His longer passing, you do struggle a little bit. As I mentioned before, the long shots are a little bit poor. The pace could use a little bit of a helping hand, and so could the agility. But guys, I am really nitpicking at this card. If you don't put chemistry on him and leave him on basic, he will perform just as well for you. So I do think this card is a phenomenal card. Finally, guys, in terms of the player traits, he's got the injury prone trait, the leadership trait, and the chip shot. No finesse shot, no long shot either, which would have been nice to have on this card considering how many of those goals he scored as well. However, I'm not going to complain too much. So now let's get into the SBC requirements for you guys to get your hands on him. So guys, if we just get straight into Sergio Aguero's SBC requirements, 984k on the PlayStation, 917 on the Xbox, and 1.11 million on the PC. This is a very expensive SBC, guys, and actually it's mostly down to one squad. I think this is a very high price, obviously, to pay for any card, but if you look at it in comparison to what you're getting, so if you look at some of these icon strikers that you're getting, who may not be necessarily as good as this card, they are more expensive. I do feel like it's not unreasonable to consider this price for this Aguero SBC. I do feel like he's certainly worth a lot of coins, and if you told me this 94 Aguero would be on the market for 1 million coins, I would probably pick it up. So guys, I think this is a fair valuation. Would I have liked him to be cheaper? Of course. I think somewhere around that Renato Sanchez kind of mark, maybe 700 to 800k, I think that would have been the sweet spot for this card. I don't think he should be lower than that because, of course, he does have great linkability in terms of league and nation, so we don't want to discount the value of that too much. However, guys, I do feel like this is just slightly on the high side, however, still worth it. If we just get into what the SBCs are, you guys can see the biggest one here, 500k for this one, an informed player with an 89 rated squad. Then an 86 rated squad with a Premier League player, an 85 rated squad with a Manchester City player, and an 84 rated squad with an Argentinian player. So guys, all of these SBCs relatively expensive except for the Argentinian one. I think if this was an 87 rated squad, that would have been much more reasonable than an 89 rated squad. You have to pick up a lot of expensive players to be able to get this card. But overall, guys, I still do think he is worth it. We'll get more into that in the summary. And now that we've covered that, let's get into some of the clips that I got with him. So guys, getting into some of Sergio Aguero's clips, and what you guys are going to see is his general ability to play up front and how good he is at all technical parts of the game. Let's just get into the first part of it, which is his pace, guys. Now, his pace is pretty reasonable. There's two parts to this, guys. This pace is really two-factor in that, of course, his general acceleration and sprint speed is very good, but his burst off the mark is excellent, guys. And what that means is that you really do catch defenders on the back foot a lot, even if they are fullbacks. Aguero is super quick off the mark and allows you just to create nice little gaps and spaces to either go into and create goal scoring opportunities or create chances from. The next thing I'm going to get into, guys, is his passing. Now, his short passing is really good. I think his link-up play is fantastic in that regard as well. In terms of his longer passing, guys, I struggled a little more with him. I do feel like that spraying out to the wing with him is a little bit more difficult than other strikers, or than it would be with other strikers. So I do feel like, in general, his passing's okay, but you have to keep it short with this card. If we move into his dribbling, guys, I think all parts of his dribbling are really good, except for that agility. Now, guys, it's 87 agility, which isn't bad, but given what you want this Aguero card to be able to do, I feel like boosting that agility with the right chemistry style will allow you to get a lot more out of this card than what you can get just not having anything on it at all. I do feel like Aguero, you need to use him in such a way that you can burst away from players, and although he is very good at that naturally, helping that a little more will do you a wonder of good in terms of just being able to create chances for yourself. The next thing I want to get into, guys, and it's actually the standout factor of this card before we go into his shooting, is his physicality. Now, guys, I was so surprised about his physicality, his strength and capability on the ball. He's able to hold off defenders, beat them, get around them as well, or just get past them as well when they're running. Often you see players getting blocked by defenders because the defenders are too strong. This Aguero card just bullies his way past defenders at time and is able to hold them off. And with that speed boost as well, what you have is a player who's very, very physically capable in terms of being able to do everything. He's got decent stamina as well, so able to run the entire game, and decent jumping as well. So his heading really does play well too. In terms of his shooting, guys, and now we're going to get into that, his finishing is tremendous, I think. Although you guys have seen a number of missed shots, you have to bear in mind he scored 10 goals for me in 3 games, and you're going to start seeing some of these finishes now. They were absolutely pinpoint at times, or in other cases just smashing it through the goalkeeper at times, which was crazy to see because you see players with a lot of powerful shots, but Aguero was just leathering it past the keeper half the time. What I would say about his shooting, guys, though, is that his long shots are poor. So if you want a more complete striker, you will need to focus on boosting that rather than boosting, say, his agility or other parts of his game. I do feel like that his long shots do need work. So if you are going to use him as more of a striker outside the box as well, trying to get those finesse goals, which he's not great at, then you do need to boost that element as well. He's good at heading as well, guys. Now, he's not a traditional big man that you can win headers off goal kicks, but you can win them off corners if you direct them correctly and make sure you put him in the right position. He will win the header, as you guys are about to see here. He does very well in here for me in this clip. And in this final clip that you guys are about to see, we use that signature trait, the one that Aguero has, the chip shot, and stick this into the back of the net. So, guys, getting into this final Sergio Aguero summary. Of course, 1 million on the PlayStation, 922 on the Xbox, and 1097 on the PC. Now, guys, I'm actually just going to refresh this because I think it's actually fallen a little bit. There you go, it has. It's fallen a little bit since yesterday, so 984, 9916, and 1107. If we get into the key stats, guys, his pace is decent. I think his burst off the mark is really good, guys, and you will have noticed that from some of the clips as well. He's able to burst away from defenders really well. Of course, the finishing aspect of this card, the shot power, are really great there as well. I think the long shots are a little bit of a con there. But again, guys, the most surprising factor is this strength here. It was absolutely phenomenal. I really loved how he played. Almost not as a big man, because of course he is only 5'8", but he was able to hold up the ball really well. He's able to do all the elements of a big man, including win headers. Not necessarily off goal kicks, but off corners. And then he's able to do all the small man stuff as well, which is dribbling in between the lines, quick bursts off the mark as well, all of that stuff. So it's a really lovely card in terms of all of that. In terms of chemistry style, guys, if we were to look at this now, you could look at something like a marksman. Now, that would give him ridiculous strength, boost his shooting up so he becomes really good at long shots, but it doesn't help out his agility, which is what we really want from this card. I went with the engine in the end. I do feel like this is a really good one for him. It puts his agility into that elite level, puts his balance up as well, and just generally brings his pace up, brings his passing up, his link-up play becomes a little bit better as well. Guys, I would say that you maybe don't need to necessarily look at the pace as well. So if you didn't want to boost the pace as much and wanted to focus elsewhere on this card, you could make him a really good link-up play by putting the artist on him there. I mean, his shooting's absolutely fine as well, so his pace would be fine, and then you'd have a great passing forward who's really agile on the ball as well. So that's really an option as well, guys. There's so many ways you can go with this card because of how good he is in so many different areas. if you ask me to compare him in terms of similar players, I really would struggle, guys. This Joao Felix is a little more of a slight player. Same with this Paulo Dybala and Lionel Messi. Aguero's got this weird mix of strength and slightness. In that, of course, he's a very stocky build, but what he does have is incredible pace off the mark, just able to burst past defenders and get past them. I've not used Eusebio and I've not used Pele this year. However, I feel like they're maybe, again, a little more slight than this card, but I wouldn't be surprised if the sort of build is the same. Puskás may be a good shout as well. You see that with Puskás, his stocky build, but still able to burst away from defenders and use that size a little bit as well. So I do feel like, I'm not going to say he's as good as any of those top level players like Eusebio, Pele or Puskás, but he's certainly in that mold where he's just so good, so unique in terms of his style of play. In terms of linkability, guys, of course, he's got perfect links to the Otamendi card if you did want to link him in that way. Of course, he's got strong links to Argentinian icons, other Manchester City players such as Raheem Sterling, Kevin De Bruyne, Joao Cancelo, Riyad Mahrez, so many players, Argentinian players as well, like Eric Lamela, like Lo Celso as well is in there too, I believe. So lots of linkability for this card. If we look at the price comparison, guys, now, we have discussed this, how it is quite expensive in terms of an SBC. Now, when you look at who he compares to in that list, you're looking at Prime Thierry Henry, Prime Ferenc Puskás, Prime Didier Drogba. These guys are all very well-rounded strikers. Inform Cristiano Ronaldo is there. Prime Moments, Hugo Sanchez, Timothy Lewandowski. I genuinely believe that this Aguero card is one of the most well-rounded strikers that will be released all year. I do think he is endgame. I think he'll hold in terms of be able to hold his own in any team come the end of the year as well. So I really do feel like this is a fantastic card. And just looking at who he's amongst there, guys, I have to say, it's a really good value SBC. Not good value, it's a reasonable SBC. It's a reasonable cost to pay, even though it is expensive, guys. You have to consider what you get from this card, and it really is an endgame striker who can play at the level of almost any icon that's out there. Really fantastic card in all aspects, which leads me into my final recommendation, guys, about this SBC. And this is a tricky one because, of course, it is 1,000,000 coins. This is not one you're going to be looking to complete just for the sake of it. But I genuinely do believe this Aguero card is worth that 1,000,000 coin price tag. I wouldn't say he's worth more than, say, 1.3, 1.4, given the stage that we're at and some of the players that he would be above then. But given he's just under 1,000,000, I think if he was down at 700k, that would be the sweet spot for this SBC. I do feel like it is on the expensive side. However, as I said before, guys, I really do feel like he's worth it. And if you can complete him and put him into your team, then I definitely do think he is worth it. He'll hold his own in your team until the end of the year. You won't have to worry about your striker position again. Hope you guys did enjoy this review. If you did, please do smash that like button. Until next time, I will see you all in a bit.